Hi everybody, hope you guys are doing very well. So today I'm actually going to be doing a review of this Reliance controls transfer switch kit. And notice that I said kit, not just transfer switch. So the reason why we bought this is because a couple weeks ago in our area we had lost, not we lost power, but like some of our family members had lost power for like 24 hours or so. And me and my wife was kind of talking about it because, we did have power, it didn't affect us. But it kind of sparked a conversation for us, like, what are we going to do if that happened to us? Because ComEd had told our family member that their power probably wouldn't be up until Saturday. Well, that was on Monday. So anyway, they were scrounging around trying to find somebody that could, they could put the stuff in their deep freezer and so that they don't lose all of their food. And so it kind of sparked a conversation, something I've thought about for a while, but being able to talk to my wife about it because of that particular situation. Then it was also 90 degrees out that day. It kind of got us to really thinking, like, what would we do? So the best case scenario is that we would do the standby generator, which that's one of those huge ones that literally can run your whole house. The problem with that is, for us, it's out of our budget. That something like that would cost, I'm guessing, probably around $12,000, and we just don't have the money for that. So the alternative was to buy an actual generator, a portable generator. So in order to run different things in our house in case of an emergency, and after doing research, there was two options. I could do the Interlock Switch, which is what you put in the fuse box, and the way it does is you have a separate switch or separate breakers for your generator. And then the way the switch works is you have to turn off the main breakers to the house so that you don't backfeed to the utility line, and then you can switch your breaker on for your generator to power your house, your house, and you can, pick whichever circuits that you want in order to allow the power from the generator to power those particular items. So I didn't really like that because it wasn't idiot proof, and just the potential of just backfeeding to the line. So and also that was a cheaper alternative too, because I think that one was about maybe $50 or something like that. You can even buy it off Amazon. And so I started looking at a transfer, switch, and kind of looking at the pros and cons between the two, the transfer switch and then the interlock switch. And for us, the transfer switch is better. It does cost more. We bought this one off of off of Home Depot's website. They didn't even have it in stock in the store for, I think, about $440. And you literally get everything that's on this box here. So you get a 10 circuit transfer switch, which actually utilizes your standard size circuit breakers on it. You have the toggle switches here. You have the conduit, which I believe this is 1 inch in size. You even get the inlet box that you mount on the outside of the house to plug your power cord in that goes from your generator to the house, which just connects to the transfer switch. And you get a 10-foot 10 gauge 4-prong power cord. And if you look down here, this one particular one, you can do 20 amp or 30 amp, and it's rated for 8,000 watts running watts. Okay, and then let's see, and even though it's not shown in the picture here, this whole device is all pre-wired, so it has all the wires included in here. I think maybe about 3 feet, maybe 3 feet long. So the only thing that you have to do is hook it up to your main breaker box, like it shows you right here, and you would pick 10 circuits out of your main panel that you will wire this up to. And so what would happen is, in the event of a power outage, you will connect your generator, get it running. You will connect your power cord up to the inlet box. It feeds through the transfer switch here, and then these toggle switches, which you can see here, these you will switch individually one at a time from line to generator. And then it has this wattage meter here that you can monitor both legs of the generator to make sure that you're not overloading one side over the other, because you want to try to make sure it's balanced. And this is for me, this was a safer way to go, because for us, 10 circuits is good. The stuff that we need to use, I was able to put it all on here, and I don't have to worry about backfeeding the line. So like when the power comes back on, we'll know it, because whatever circuits that we don't have included in the transfer switch, those circuit breakers are still going to be on in the control panel. And once the power comes back on, those lights like in that room will turn on, and we know, oh, power's been restored. All the while we're still using generator power to power whatever the 10 circuits are here. And all that we have to do is come down to the basement, flip each switch down one at a time, back to line. Then we go outside, we unhook the, I'm sorry, no, we don't unhook it. We turn off the generator, then we unhook it, and then just put everything away. So let me show you, I'm gonna put this out of the way here. This is kind of like a rough diagram of the balanced load chart that I had chose when I was trying to figure out which circuit was going to belong to what. Now these are all kind of inflated numbers, including the startup watts, like for example the fridge, the AC. These are the total wattages that I came up with. But the thing is, once I've checked ComEd, which is our power supply company, and according to them, we only use, even with using AC, the most that we use is about 4,000 watts, or something close to 5,000 watts, and that's at peak during the summertime using the AC. So going by those numbers, we should be fine, but I'll know once I start using the transfer switch. So yeah, these are the different circuits. So that, and then this right here, this is the 10-foot power cord. It has one male, and then the other is a female. It also comes with different fasteners for the conduit. So this is one where you stick it straight in, and I'm going to show you my setup over there. And it came with screws, and then I'm going to just show you this wire. One of the really cool things about the wire is that each circuit is labeled. I'm not sure if my camera's going to pick up on it. Yeah, each circuit is labeled, so you can have Oh, there we go. Okay, so you see this one says G. So there's a red and then there's a black labeled G. So you know that's a circuit that you want. You know, and here's the black one. These are two different ones that I had cut off. And see, this one's, let me turn around. This one's E here. And then the instructions manual is very detailed. All right, so as you can see here, I've already installed ours, and this is the panel. I just put some tape on here so I could label this portable generator transfer switch, you know, for my wife and daughter. And this is actually some nice heavy duty equipment here. The whole housing of it is made out of metal. The cover is made out of some kind of plastic. And as you can see up here, which I'll zoom in a little bit, this has the different legs as well as a corresponding circuits, because they're all labeled, you know, here. Sorry, see, they're all labeled A through J. So what you do is you have the circuit description, you write it down there, and you know which one it is, and it even tells you the max watts. So for, let me go back down. So for let's say you have a well pump or something that's on 240 volts, so you would use A and B, which is a double pole, which you can see right here. These two ties here, they're double pole, as well as the breaker down here. Now I switched mine out because this did not come with a 30 amp circuit double pole, so I switched it out and put one in. I think that was maybe about $10 for that. It also comes with, I believe it was it was a total of 4 20 amp circuits, and then the rest of them were 15 amps. So I end up replacing, I believe, 3 of the 15 amp circuits and put in 20 amp circuits, because that's what I'm using the actual control panel there. And you see up here, let me bring you a little closer. See right here, these are the watt meters. So when I actually start using generated power, these meters are going to move on both sides as I'm flipping the switches and allowing the power to flow through. And it won't backfeed the line, the utility line, at all. So let me show you what's inside here. And then the only other thing that you have to do outside of wiring, running the wires from the transfer switch to the control panel, is you have to buy building wire, 10 gauge, to wire the inlet box. So as you see here, you see each one of the circuits were already pre-wired. What you see, I have the ties, the wire ties on them. Those are the ones that I had put together, but all the rest of them, yeah, they were already put together. So you don't have to do anything. And if you want to change one of these out, they change out just like it does in the regular circuit panel. Okay, and so down here, the conduit, like I said, I believe this is 1 inch, and it came with both connectors. One here that's coming out of the transfer switch, and then the other, which is also an elbow that's going underneath into the control panel here. And that other connector that I was showing you is so that if you don't want to go through the bottom and you want to go through like the side, you can do that. Just, you know, knock your knockout for whatever size that you need, and you go ahead and you just connect it. Okay, and then on the side here, which you can't really see, let me close this. Um, I have the conduit going up and outside the house for the actual inlet box. So the advantages of using the transfer switch over the interlock switch is, one, this comes with meters on here, so I can see exactly what is being used, how much power, if I'm overloading the generator. The other thing is that I can't backfeed until the utility line, even when the power comes back on. The other thing is, in the control panel, I don't have to do anything with that. I don't have to flip any breakers off. I don't have to try to turn off the breakers that are connected to the transfer switch. I don't have to do anything. Everything is being run through here, through the transfer switch. The other thing is that I like about it is that this is safer to me. This is a lot safer. Now, it does cost more, but I believe for the price, it's worth the money, because it comes not only with its own breaker. So let's say if I overload a breaker, it's going to flip on here, not in the control panel here, but it's going to trip right here, because this is where all the power is coming from when it's in gen mode. Now, if I end up overloading the breaker while it's on utility and it's in line mode here, I'm going to trip the breaker inside the control panel box there. And then another thing is, like, when because I'm gonna have to run the generator probably, like, I think every 3 months, just to kind of exercise it, and I'm gonna have to have a load on it. All I have to do is hook it up on the outside. I could come down here in the basement and I could turn on a couple circuits down here to allow it to run those things for about 30 minutes or so, and I don't even have to touch the control panel. I don't have to turn off any other power in the house or anything. I don't have to simulate a blackout or anything. All I have to do is flip that switch to gen, and then it's going to be run on generator power. So I could be feeding a couple switches. I could do all of them actually, or just a couple select few on gen power, even while I have utility power still coming in. How awesome is that? And I was able to install this myself. I do have, I'm not an electrician or anything, but I do have experience doing a little electrical work, and I felt very confident in doing this. I suggest that if you don't feel confident going into the control box there and doing wiring and stuff, pay an electrician to do it. But all in all, it'll still be worth it. A couple things I forgot to mention with the watt meter. As you can see here, the one on the bottom is for 125 volts, which the max watts is 2500. And then the top, even though it doesn't say it, this is for 240 volts, and the max is 3750 there. So as long as, depending on which one you use, in our case it's going to be the top one, it stays in the green on both sides, you're good. Our generator is actually a Predator 9000 starting watt generator, and the continuous running watts is 7250. Okay, and then the other thing is that you can actually have only one double pole 30 amp, and you can have one double pole 20 amp breaker in here. Or is it off? Or is it like 5? I think it may be 5, total of 5, but you can only have one 30 amp double pole breaker in here. And this cover right here, this is actually like a door for if you were going to run the inlet right behind this panel here. So you would take the screw out, and then you will go ahead and your inlet will be right here, so you can actually plug your power cord through here if you weren't using the inlet box. So here is the 240 inlet box, and it's like really nice. It's all metal except the cover here, which is made out of some kind of plastic. It is spring loaded, and as you can see in there, it's a twist lock receptacle here, and it was real easy to install. It only takes this screw out, and then the whole thing kind of lifts up, and then you have access to the inside of the panel. So it has knockouts on both sides, I believe, yep, underneath, and then one in the back, which, you know, ours is coming in through the back. Note here, because as you see we have siding, so what I did was I took a razor blade and I cut the siding on both sides so that I'll be able to seat this flush against the house, and then just caulked around it. Alright, so I wanted to kind of give you an idea of what interlock kit or interlock switch does. Now, I don't actually have one because we have a transfer switch. So the way it works is, you see how in your main panel, which I'm sure you can Google it and you can see YouTube videos about it. So basically what it does is it's this metal bracket that you get from the manufacturer of your control panel box, which in ours is GE, and you have to actually modify this by drilling holes into it so that you can put the switch in here. It's just a metal bracket. So what it does is it covers the main breaker here, and then you have to remove two of these breakers here. So in our case, if we were to install the interlock switch, I would have to move these two breakers down further and then install a separate 30 amp double pole breaker in here for the generator. And then what happen is you slide this switch up to once you turn the main power off, you slide the switch up, then you can turn your breakers for your generator on. But before you do that, you got to turn off all of the breakers in your box before you switch over to generator power. All of these breakers have to stay off. You only turn on the ones that you need. Then when the power comes back on, you really won't know, because none of these can be on, because you can't have backfeed into the actual line if you start flipping switches back on. So that's pretty much kind of like how an interlock switch works, and why for me I just didn't want to do that, because I don't want to have to be flipping these breakers off, having to come down here, decide what's breakers are going to be on, what breakers are going to be off. As you see, we don't really have a lot. So that was the reason why I chose to use the transfer switch, because when I calculated the wattage that we need for everything, as well as the circuits that we have, this 10 circuit unit is perfect for us. So all I have to do is just flip all the switches up, and our generator can literally run everything. Obviously, we're not going to be running high wattage items at the same time, but I don't have to worry about it. And I have the wattage meters down here, whereas I can see, you know, how much power is being used and how the generator is doing and everything like that and stuff. So yeah. So we have our generator running outside. I'm actually just doing a test right now just to kind of see how the generator holds up with our regular appliances that I have connected on going through the transfer switch, and it's going really well. If you just look over here in our main control panel, you see that the main breaker is on, as well as all of the other individual breakers. So I have not turned any of them off. As a matter of fact, I didn't only open the door just to show you that. And one of the great things about this that I just really love is that when I came back in the house to flip from line mode to gen mode, you know, all these switches were down. The breakers stay in the on position. You don't have to touch these at all. What happened is, if you overload a breaker, it'll trip a breaker just like it would in your main control panel there. So just imagine all of these are off. I'm not going to turn them off right now because I'm still running my test. And you just flip one on, one at a time. You start with your max load, those circuits that pull a lot of wattage, do those first, and then go all the way down the line. Okay, so as you can see, we have our AC as the AC, and our furnace is actually the biggest load that we have right now, and it's actually running. So you can go instantaneous from one to the other, to the point where our clocks don't even reset when we switch from line to gen or gen to line mode. And while you're running in gen mode, when all these switches are in gen mode, all these circuits are isolated from the main control panel here. There's no power going into any of the breakers in the control panel here. It's kind of hard to explain how that works, but it does literally work. So if I was to throw a switch, which I'm not about to do because I have stuff running, if I was to throw a breaker in here, it would actually shut the power off to whatever's on that circuit. That is so cool. When all of these toggles are in the line position, which is the utility coming in, the power coming from the utility company, these breakers here are not active. Everything is being run through here. So all the power, the breakers, so if we tripped a breaker, it will flip up in here while this is in line mode. And another thing I showed you, I have utility power coming in to the other switches that are not connected to the transfer switch, and I have generator power coming in through the transfer switch, both at the same time, but only one power source is going to these 10 circuits here. So there is no way to backfeed into the line. We don't have to, we don't have to touch anything in this fuse box, our main control panel here. We don't have to turn off any breakers or circuits or anything like that. So this actually works really good. I'm thankful that we have it. It's working very well. Get over the cost of it. Trust me, you will not regret it. And then, like for myself, I have to run our generator every 2 months. So I could just hook it up outside, flip maybe a couple switches on in here, let it exercise for 30 minutes to an hour, and that's it. I don't have to do anything else. So transfer switch for me is the way to go for us. It works. All of our circuits that we need during a power outage, we have access to that. So if you have any questions, post them in the comments. You guys have yourself a blessed day.